a very sad day is upon us, people. There is going to be a new Asym game, apparently, and it's going to be Halloween. Of course, there was an announcement a long time ago about Asym Games making 2 Halloween games. Obviously, we have the Retro Realms one, as you can see down there somewhere. I've got the collector's edition of that. And they were going to make an Unreal Engine 5 game. Now, there is a bunch of rumors going around that Asym Games no longer has that license. And the sources inside of that studio, apparently, that's been shared from other YouTube channels about the license shifting over a gun. And it would make sense to me. I think that Asym Games potentially lost out on a lot of money. Obviously, they made quite a bit of money with Evil Dead. I don't know, maybe I think Retro Realms potentially sold pretty decently, but maybe the Halloween license holders didn't like what they saw with that as well. Maybe they were expecting some bigger numbers. I don't know. And they probably saw, all right, we'll get a better publisher here, which, arguably you could say that's Gun with what they did with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then Gun obviously know that Illfonic are pretty good developers as well. So it would make sense for them to team up to tackle this Halloween Asym game. And the sad thing is that they are going to be tackling the Halloween Asym game. If they're going to be taking on that, it is just fucking doomed before it even begins. There's too many red flags already. If Gun is in charge of deciding the content, which they will be because they're the publisher, they won't allow Illfonic to be in charge of the content at all. So they're going to be deciding, okay, who's going to go in this game? Who's going to be a killer? Now, I've never been one for a Halloween Asym game. And the main reason being, okay, and obviously the original Halloween movies and stuff were supposed to be a different killer every movie. But because Michael Myers became so popular, he was like the face of Halloween there. Now, if you're making a Halloween Asym game, everybody's just going to be expecting Michael Myers, and that probably won't be the case. And, you're probably going to be looking at new characters coming to the game like Giuseppe Gilmore, just off the top of my head, some random-ass people, like they did on Texas Chainsaw Massacre when they brought in Nancy and they brought in that other guy, I don't know his name, that was played by Bill Moseley, but they're going to be bringing these characters in, and those DLC prices are going to be overcharged. They're going to do the same shit that they did with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They're going to make excuses for their prices again. They're going to say, well, mocap is expensive, voice acting is expensive. Look at Evil Dead pricing wise, with the voice in there. Dead by Daylight again with the voice acting as well. You're paying like $5 to $8 for a new character and a chapter, and here you go, here's $10 per character in a new Halloween Asym game. They are going to milk the shit out of this game. They're not going to do anything that you want to put into the game, should I say. They never listened to any of our fucking feedback on Texas Chainsaw Massacre at all, did they? They never increased the level cap. The biggest issue in the game was the lobby system. Never got fucking fixed as well. You're just sitting there in a lobby queue waiting for the game to start for 10 years, and that nothing gets done about that because sure, that might not have been Gun's fault, but it just felt like TCM was a weird community to be a part of. And as a community, I say that in a way that the developers actually listen to what we have to say who play the game, and they actually implement these changes, or they voice their concerns about that. And the way they were fucking acting to people who were asking questions like this was very toffee nose, talk down to us. They were very just unbelievably obnoxious the way they spoke to the community, and when they had genuine questions about things. And like I said before about Gun leaving Texas Chainsaw Massacre behind, in their statement they never even thanked their player base for their support, or buying all the cosmetics and buying into all their shit, and they're paying for overpriced fucking characters. So that's already a lot of red flags so far, just because of Gun's track record in these games. If Gun, for example, was just Wares, I feel like if he fucking cleared out some, they won't, because they're like a horror family of game publishers here. They've got to do better, and there's no evidence that that's ever going to happen, just because of how untransparent they are. It's not nice for us to be picking up and buying a new Asym game. Potentially could even have a collector's edition. Who knows? They probably won't do a collector's edition. I don't think they did with Texas, so we probably won't see a Halloween collector's edition here. Would be nice, I guess, you know, if we did get that. But you got to remember that I have gone through the lifespan of like 3 Asym games on this channel in the last 4 to 5 years. We've had Evil Dead, gone. We've had Texas Chainsaw Massacre, gone, no longer getting content. Now we have Killer Klowns as well, and Killer Klowns might still get a few skins here and there, but it's relatively a dead game, and it's a shame because that's probably, you know, more fun than TCM in my opinion. But I just really can't deal with Gun's condescending attitude towards the player bases, and I won't buy into it. And you know, if they offer me this game for free to cover on the channel, I'll do it. I can't see me paying any money to play this game because just because of Gun's track record, and on top of that, it's an IP Asym game. Like I just said there, I went through 3 lifespans of these IP license fucking Asym games, and it just seems like they're just doomed to fail before they come out. They're going to be fun for the first couple of months, and then people are just going to go back to Dead by Daylight because Dead by Daylight is where the content's at. Now, on the other side of the spectrum here, we have Illfonic. Now, Illfonic are pretty good at what they do, okay? They probably ruined Killer Klowns in terms of what the original design was. You know, Killer Klowns was supposed to be like the survivors going on to the humans going onto the spaceship and then, you know, sneaking around and trying to destroy the spaceship and stuff. So there was an original concept there that was totally sucked out of that. From Good Shepherd, who was originally making that. So Good Shepherd got taken away from the game. Illfonic come in and they basically made the most baseline Asym game you could ever imagine. No perks in an Asym game, just classes that don't really do anything, and then there's weapons in there. Don't get me wrong, Killer Klowns is really fun. It's a funny time, and the reason why it's because it's so bad. You know, it's just having just the terrible hitboxes and just the jankiness and things like that. It's so simple and so bad that you just get a good laugh from it, and that's why I enjoy Killer Klowns. And the thing is, I love the movie of Killer Klowns as well. And that game, again, it's another game that just had so much potential. And you look at Texas, again, that was another one that just had so much more potential than what they put out and so much more creativity. And they felt like they reached their creative end with that game, which literally makes no sense to me whatsoever, because there was definitely stuff still in the game files that never made it to the game that people data mined. And there was just other things that they had planned, like I mentioned, in-game currency, level cap increase, all that was supposed to come to the game, and it just didn't happen. So I'm going to sit here. Obviously, I'm not going to say I'm never going to play this Halloween game. If it is an Asym game, by the way, this might not even be an Asym game, but it's looking that way. All signs are pointing to Gun and Illfonic making a Halloween Asym game here, because they worked on Friday the 13th together. They're obviously both in the Asym space. And the timing is extremely suspicious, considering Gun have decided to cancel the work on Texas Chainsaw Massacre and abandon that game so they can, you know, work on arguably a bigger license, which is Halloween over TCM there. So, and the reason why this is going to be a real problem is, like I said, in the first couple of months, I feel like it's going to have a lot of bugs because it's Illfonic. Illfonic don't release polished games at all, to be honest. I wouldn't sit there and say, you know, Illfonic is the developer I would pick for an Asym game just because of what I've played. I've played Ghostbusters, I've played Predator Hunting Grounds, and I've played Killer Klowns. And all 3 of them just lack that substance of being like a AA title, not a AAA title. If I'm trying to say, it's like not on the same level there as what other Asym games have been. Like, despite Dead by Daylight being very basic, it feels a lot more of a polished game than Killer Klowns, Ghostbusters, or Predator Hunting Grounds. And we're talking like by a studio here of Illfonic that are getting YouTubers to do voice acting for them. They do everything on the cheap. The only good redeeming thing about Illfonic is that they will support a game for a long time. I mean, look at Predator Hunting Grounds, that's still getting updates. Killer Klowns has just had an anniversary update. It was very minimum though, and people sit there and even complained about people complaining about that update, and you're like, Yeah, because they fucking hyped it up so much that they were going to do all these gameplay tweaks and stuff. Like, we had in our minds that we were going to get potentially new weapons, and maybe it's a perk system. I don't know, but they just sucked all of the meaning of an Asym game out of that game, which to me, obviously, aside from the asymmetrical term of, you know, one role being more powerful than the other role, despite that being the main term of it, when you say an Asym game, you're expecting perks, you're expecting a grind, you're expecting a battle pass, you're expecting events. Again, it's a licensed Asym game that's coming out. If it is an Asym game, if Halloween is going to be an Asym game, it's going to be licensed. It's going to be fucking hell for them to get our feedback on board and saying, okay, we want this in the game, we would like to see this, we would like to see these changes. That's going to be fucking hell to happen, because everything that they do, they're going to have to get the approval of the Halloween license holders, and then the updates are going to get delayed, and then things are going to be overpriced because it is a licensed game as well. It's just, I just don't see it lasting longer than a year, unfortunately. I wish it would. I wish it was a different scenario here. What I would prefer is if Gun and Illfonic made their own Asym game, and then they brought in the Halloween license as a crossover. I feel like that's the way you've got to do an Asym game. If you want an Asym game to compete even close to Dead by Daylight, and you don't even have to overtake it, you don't have to dethrone it, you don't have to do any of that shit, okay? You want a game to have a good concurrent player base. That's what you need to do. You can't just, like, you can't be getting in the mentality of, okay, I'm just going to launch this one-hit wonder of an Asym game, and then I'm just going to bank on all the monies straight away and then be done with it, because that's what they did with Texas. That's what's happened with Killer Klowns as well. Killer Klowns is, like I said, it's just on the decline of the player base. Not many people are playing it for some reason. They won't put it on Game Pass to get more players either. And that'll be the success of Halloween right there, would be Game Pass. Since Texas did so well on Game Pass with Gun, they're gonna look at Halloween and they're gonna be like, oh, okay, and it's the same people. We got a lot of players with that. We got a lot of people using Game Pass with that. We're going to do the same thing here. And that is exactly how that game will be successful in the short term. Long term, like I said, it's probably not going to last more than a year. What can you really do in a Halloween Asym game here? Like I said, you got to be making random characters like Giuseppe Gilmore and fucking, I don't know, Peter Perker as a fucking, instead of playing a Michael Myers. You're gonna have those as killers, and then they're gonna drop those killers, and they're gonna be $10 each. And I guarantee you, because, you know, Wes has probably still got his erection from his wet fever dream of a Giallo-inspired horror Asym game mode that he had in fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That is probably what Halloween is gonna play like. He's probably gonna sit there and be like, yeah, I want to make Halloween like Rush Week. So then it's gonna be like Michael Myers breaking into a sorority house, and then on the sorority side of things, that's going to be extremely boring because you're going to get two-tapped by Michael Myers. Yeah, I don't really think it's going to be that exciting, honestly. But like I said, regardless of everything I have said here, it's going to probably be on Game Pass. And everything that I say is with a grain of salt, because who knows, it might not even be an Asym game. It might be, Gun and Illfonic could be working on something totally different. And if they are working on an original IP, then I can see it being more successful than a Halloween game, because I'm so done with these licensed horror games coming out and dying. I'm really fucking burnt out of it. If 3 of them in 4 or 5 years is come and gone, there's no one in the comment section that's going to sit there and fucking tell me that the next one is going to be the successful one and it's going to last for at least 5 years. It's not going to fucking happen. And it's not even about people's people's attention spans. I mean, people are sitting playing fucking Dead by Daylight. I'm sitting playing Dead by Daylight still. 9 years later, there's a formula out there that other developers are too scared to copy or to utilize all of Dead by Daylight's metrics in terms of keeping people engaged. Why do people play Dead by Daylight? Why are loads of people playing Dead by Daylight right now? Huge anniversary event that lasts 2 weeks, and you can get a shit ton of XP and leveling up your characters, and there's a grind there. People enjoy a grind. People enjoy making builds. Copy that formula, copy that format, put it into your Asym game in your own way. Don't just do a one-to-one copy of Dead by Daylight. You have, if you have a unique license there like Halloween, there is unique ways in terms of making people play your game and keeping them engaged in a way that's not like I can see a Halloween Asym game coming out by Gun and Illfonic and it's not going to have a Halloween event. I can see that fucking happening. And that's another thing that I want to mention as well. Three IP games, not a single event on them, unless you want to class the Blood Moon event on Texas. The Clowns never got an in-game event. That was all third-party stuff. Oh, what? Look out on our social media here, and we're going to give you some codes for a free clown skin or something. Evil Dead didn't have a single event apart from double XP. So, yeah, it's not good enough. It really isn't. They're going to charge a full price for these games as well, which, you know, $40+, probably $50 if it is a Halloween game. And it's probably going to launch with 3 maps, and then you're going to have Michael Myers as the one killer for about the first 3 months, and then they're probably going to add somebody you've never heard of and charge you $10 for that, and then they're going to add the worst. To be honest, though, Illfonic do some good cosmetics, so I think on this, you're probably safe on the cosmetic side of things, but I know Gun like to have everything authentic, so it's going to take a long fucking time to even get any good cosmetics into the game. Because, like I said, they're not going to let Illfonic take the reins on content. They're going to tell Illfonic what to do, and there probably is going to be some creative differences there, and it could be a little bit of a nightmare, honestly. But yeah, if they want to make their own Asym game, they want to make it maybe as a combat-oriented one, even with similar gameplay to TCM, I'd be fine with that. But I seeing what Wes goes on like, I feel like he's already got this idea in his head of what he's expecting to be, what this game to be, because of how quote unquote popular Rush Week was according to him and Matt. So yeah, sadly I feel like it's going to be doomed to fail if it is a Halloween Asym game. And I just wanted to make that clear to everybody. Just remember the shit that we went through with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Remember the shit that Illfonic put out sometimes as well. You've got to remember that. And I'm not telling you not to buy it. I just know that it's not going to last long. It's got too many red flags if it is the case. Go an Illfonic IP game. No. It's going to struggle, okay? I know Friday the 13th was very popular. They did good on Friday the 13th. To be honest, though, looking back, I don't think Friday was as popular as a lot of people realized after like the first 6 months to a year, because of the bugs and things that were happening in there as well. So you could go and you could sit and buy that, but I feel like it's just going to be a big cash grab. They're not going to add actual good stuff to the game, like battle passes, events, prestige systems, perks, earnable skins. I feel like none of that's going to exist in the game, which would be unfortunate. However, you know, I hope they make me eat my words in this video right now. I really do, because I would love to see an actual horror IP Asym do something right for once. Just anything, just a roadmap. None of them even come up with roadmaps half the time, and you're like, okay, when can we expect DLC? When can we expect a new map? You know, when can we expect new characters? We get nothing along those lines. It's always just kind of get the game out as fast as possible, fix it a little bit after release, and then slow down the updates and fuck off. That's exactly what the last 3 Asym games have been like. So yeah, I would say timid your expectations for a Halloween Asym game. I like, big part of me wants it to succeed massively, but another part of me just says, you know, it's doomed to fail, unfortunately. But yeah, it should be fun for the first couple of months at least. So we got that to look forward to, if that's the case. But anyways, I'm going to leave the video there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to leave any comment about Gun and Illfonic or what I've mentioned, feel free to leave it down below in the comment section. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well for the channel. And I've been Pixels, my awesome viewers. I'll catch you guys in the next one.